Sam Swaine, Director of PR Collective. Welcome to the Red Zone.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Now, Sam, being in PR, one of your main roles is to handle the reputation, image, and messaging of your clients. How do you do this in the media, being such a volatile industry?
Well, first of all, it's only volatile if things go wrong, which we try and avoid. I think the main obstacle that a lot of PR companies face is actually getting the communication and content out of the client. I think a PR campaign is only as good as the content the PR officer receives. And we find that a lot of companies are so busy with the running of the day-to-day businesses of their departments that they're not able to dedicate the time to the PR process. So it's a case of making sure that we extract that information and give the media what they want and align the messaging of what the client generally wants to say, which is not necessarily always what the media want to hear. So you kind of sometimes land up in the middle as the cat that gets kicked. But yeah, it's a case of aligning those messages.
Now, as a PR officer yourself, you need to have a relationship with the media as well. Where do the intricacies lie in this?
I used to think that that anyone could implement a decent PR campaign if you could write a press release. But the reality is that there is a very delicate relationship between journalist and PR person, and PR people have had a very bad rap, and rightfully so, because if you approach a journalist without doing a little bit of research into what their column might be or what their beat is, and you approach them with a press release that possibly has no angle, that has completely irrelevant content, it's going to irk them. And especially in an age where technology allows for mass mailing and lazy PR, and journalists pick that up a mile away. So it's a very intricate psychology of knowing which journalist to approach, and if that press release has left your inbox, it generally has arrived at the journalist. So the worst thing that you can do is phone them and go, "Hello, have you received my press release?" Because if it's sent, they generally have.
Now, obviously, well, you said to us that you believe that PR is the king of content. But how does the PR industry deal with the amount of unplanned, grammatically incorrect messaging that's going out on behalf of clients every day that these journalists, like you said, yourself, are receiving?
I think that's something that starts at a grassroots level. I remember my first boss was very draconian about contents and grammar. It was very difficult to swallow in a first job, but I thank her for it now. And I think employees, when they do get new recruits in, they need to nurture the process and just install how critical it is for that information to be 100% correct. Otherwise, you'll lose all credibility.
Do you think it boils down to the lack of talent management we have in the industry and other industries around South Africa?
Well, I don't think it's any different from any other industry. When you hire someone, you hire on guts. But I think that there are ways in terms of a PR process to strategize how you will get the best recruits in. I think a good example in terms of how I've employed people in the past is, you have your one-on-one interview and you get that good gut feel. And then I asked them to strategize a PR campaign for a fictional brand and write a press release for that. And, that'll give you a pretty good idea in terms of if they understand the intricacies of the PR process.
Now, going back to press releases, what do you think makes a good one, and how would you stand out from the clutter?
First of all, it needs to be newsworthy. And you need to give the journalist an angle. And one thing that journalists absolutely hate is fluff. So don't be weird and keep it straight to the point. It is actually all about angles. And as a PR person, it is really important to take what could be the most mundane of topics and make it seem exciting and newsworthy. And I think that good PR people know how to do that quite efficiently.
Do you not feel that the PR space is perhaps a little bit oversaturated and maybe a press release is not the right platform for a specific sort of news or a specific release?
The premise of PR is about information dissemination. And I don't think that any one area of PR is being oversaturated. Every brand has a specific PR campaign rollout. online and social media press releases and traditional media press releases are very different. People tend to scan articles on the internet, so you need to be a little bit more concise and to the point. But it's all about how you gear your information.
Now, with the rise of digital, how do you feel a PR offering can maximize the use of digital along with the more traditional offering?
I think with the rise of digital, I mean, the whole PR landscape is changing. Some people are terrified because they think print is dead, which is a little bit concerning, but I don't believe it to be true. But you need to be a little bit more creative given the digital platforms that are made available for content sharing. And I think that it gives PR further channels to be creative. And I think a big part of it these days, and a trend that we'll see for 2013, is content marketing. It's for want of an example, there was a Charmin, I don't know if you know the toilet paper Charmin, and they devised an app, the PR company devised an app where you could be walking anywhere, and if you needed the loo really badly, it would locate your first bathroom. So they're very, very clever ways that you can employ digital, but it's not straightforward. You do need to strategize.
Now, a very simple question: why does PR work?
PR is the less glamorous sister of advertising, yet it is so very effective. You know, the information in terms of a press release that is sent to a journalist is filtered through an editor. So all information is included up to the editor's discretion or the producer's discretion. So it holds more kudos. I mean, if you have 40,000 rands worth of advertising and you have a beautifully shot product image versus a short column of editorial. I mean, in the day and age that we live in, people want to know who you are, why you are, what your brand is about, and how it's going to make a difference to their lives. And I think PR is a very good tool to be able to do that.
Now, it all boils down to reputation management. Case in point, celebrity endorsement. What are your views on this?
It's in terms of celebrity reputation management. Do you know what? It's like any other brand. As long as your brand is honest, as long as your brand is transparent and your communication aligns as such, then you're not going to have a problem. But you know, if you are an electrical company and you bring out a line of fridges and the fridge blows up, it's no different from a sports celebrity falling out of a car drunk. You know, you apply the same tools.
What trends do you see arising in 2013?
As I previously mentioned, I think content marketing is going to be a big trend. What it is, it's basically uninterrupted marketing to consumers, and it gives the consumer a reason to engage and be educated by the content that you're sharing. It's not heavily branded, and it continuously lives and breathes.
Sam Swaine, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Sabrina.